Super Eagles forward Umar Sadiq is rooting for the new coach of the Super Eagles, talking about Chelle, to succeed on the job. Chelle was named Super Eagles substantive head coach earlier this month, and the Nigerian Football Federation has faced intense criticism over their decision to appoint the Malian. Sadiq, however, believes the 47-year-old will have a successful spell with the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and the former defender gained attention after leading Mali to their first win against the Super Eagles in 50 years in a friendly last match. The first official game in charge of the Super Eagles will be the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifying fixture against the Amavubi of Rwanda in March. So talking about the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and of course the Super Eagles have been drawn in Group C along with Tunisia, Uganda and Tanzania in the forthcoming African Cup of Nations, scheduled to hold from December 21st, 2025 to January 18, 2026 in Morocco. The 2025 edition of the tournament will be the 35th edition of the competition, and the Super Eagles will be looking to win its fourth AFCON title after losing out in the finals against host Ivory Coast in the last edition of the tournament. The draw ceremony took place at the Mohammed Field National Theatre, Rabat, down there in Morocco last night. This, of course, will be an impressive one, Michael. I don't know what you make of this one for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. For me, I see it as an easy pass for the Super Eagles.
For me, I see it as a difficult pass for the Super Eagles, because there are no minnows in football, especially in African football. Again, you saw the last African Cup of Nations, how relatively unknown team, or some of the team that were not even well ranked, they came and they were able to give other big name countries a run for their money, pushing them against the wall. This time around, we have been pitted against Tunisia. You can't also forget that Tunisia is not Africa. It's not always very easy, whenever we play all these North African team. Tanzania, they are not a bad side, neither Uganda as well. So if we underrate any of these teams, we are going to do that at our own peril. I'm just thinking and hoping to see what Chelle is going to bring to the table, because that should be one of his greatest assignment. Having our last coach having taken us to the final of the last AFCON, I mean, all hopes, all expectation will be reposed on Chelle right now to see, we finished in second position last time, so this time around they'll be expecting him to even lift the AFCON, and anything short of that, the Nigerians will see it as a failure. And I think for me, the pressure will be upon Chelle to deliver. Though on paper it is quite understandable that Nigeria should be able to come out of that group successfully. And then again, you talk about Tunisia.
They were everywhere ranked than likes of Uganda, Tanzania.
But in football these days, ranking for me is just formalities. Ranking doesn't really hold water again in football. If not just in football, in any sporting activity, ranking doesn't hold water for me. If not, you wouldn't have believed that Madison Keys, that was ranked in world number 17 or 19, would be able to defeat world number 2 and even world number 1 to win the just concluded Australia. So sometimes the ranking doesn't really show the strength of a team out there. But then, like I was saying, on paper, Nigeria Super Eagles should be favored to go through from that group. Then maybe talk about Tunisia as the other team to follow us. But then if we lose sleep, I mean, if we do not take it serious, I tell you, we might get the shocker of our life.
A serious one at the moment. Chelle, Super Eagles new coach, have a lot to do at this point in time to make sure the Super Eagles, of course, win the African Cup of Nations, because I think for me that should be the target. Having been in the final last time, we should be able to win the African Cup of Nations in Morocco this time. But talking about it, will it be that easy for the Super Eagles to win their fourth AFCON, because we still have other teams down there in Group A, of course, where we have other one. We have teams like Morocco, Cameroon, Zambia and Mali. That should be easy pass, Michael, for Morocco in that particular group.
I think Morocco and Mali will be favored on paper. On paper, in quotes, to go through from that group. But I will keep saying it that football is unscripted. It is not something that is written or that you say A plus 1 plus 1 is 2. No, it is not done that way. But then on paper, I say Mali and Morocco is expected to come out of that group successfully.
In Group B we have Zimbabwe, Angola, South Africa and Egypt as well. What do you make of that group, Michael?
I think South Africa and Egypt is going to scale through from that group, though it is a very tricky group indeed, but then I still tip South Africa. You take a look at their last Nations Cup exploit. I think they play some sort of a coherent football, and bulk of the players ply their trade there in South African League, and this is African Cup of Nations, so having players that ply their trade in the shores of Africa, who truly understand how the African setting, how African football works, will make it very easy, and that is why I think that South Africa have the advantage to come out of that group. Then they will be struggling or jostling to see who tops the group between them and Morocco. And of course, as a host country, the home crowd is always an advantage. So Morocco, because of the
Morocco are in that group? I don't think Morocco are in the group of South Africa.
I think Morocco, South Africa should be in that group.
Let's actually go back, of course, to that group. I think that's Group B, where we have the likes of South Africa as well in that particular one. Let's see if we can get that group back. Talking about Group B. Yes, Group B at this point in time. Really, of course, a dicey one, and we hope that, of course, we have a very impressive outing in that one. But while we're still looking forward, of course, to get that Group B, we told you we have Tanzania, Uganda, Tunisia, Nigeria in Group C, and of course in Group D we have Botswana, Benin Republic, DR Congo, and as well as Senegal in that one. In Group E we have some other nations as well in that particular one. Group E, another exciting group down there. Equatorial Guinea down there. Burkina Faso, Algeria is also there. In Group F we have Mozambique, Gabon, Cameroon, Ivory Coast also in that particular group. Have you confirmed the Group B?
Yeah, we have Egypt and South Africa, not Morocco. So for me, I think I'm tipping South Africa and Egypt to struggle on who is going to top that very group. But I'm giving it to South Africa to top the group ahead of Egypt, because you see Egypt in their last AFCON, it was a very disappointing display. Even with Mohamed Salah in that squad, they actually really struggled in the last AFCON, and that is why I'm actually tipping South Africa ahead of Egypt to top that group.
Alright, let's see how this one goes. We hope for the best, of course, for these teams. It promises to be an exciting one. And Michael, talking about the AFCON in December, I don't think we'll actually have AFCON in this in that period. Talking about playing the African Cup of Nations in December.
For me, I think I'm loving it. I'm loving the time frame, because it's going to be within the Yuletide period, where a lot of festivity, a lot of people will also be on break, taking their vacation. So I think we are going to see the best of the African Cup of Nations. Taking a look at where it will be organized in between December and January, and those period where so many people are traveling for vacation, or some are on holiday, enjoying themselves. So I think it's going to be one of the best African Cup of Nations. Then again, coupled with the fact that Morocco, the host country, they've also provided even more befitting stadia to add to what they have. I think they have about 9 stadiums right now, meaning that it's going to be very colorful. So for me, I think I'm very comfortable with the time frame and the date of the 2025 African Cup of Nations.
But talk about the African players. We understand, especially those of them that do not play that trade in the Premier League, possibly could have time to rest. Because they will still be at work.
Yes, of course, they will still be at work, but then it's better that you're at work at your home ground, at your father's land, enjoying yourself, while also trying to see how you can also put your country on the world map, on the African map as well, by making sure that you help your country to win the African Cup of Nations. But basically, it is even better for some of African players playing their trade in Europe, because most of the league in Europe within that period they are on break. So sometimes there's always this conflict between clubs and the countries, especially when the season is still on. Clubs find it very difficult sometimes to release their players to Africa, and that is why in the English Premier League you see some managers not willing to buy African players. Example is Alex Ferguson. He doesn't love getting African players because of the African Cup of Nations. So I think it is good. It is only the English Premier League that will be on by then, and I believe some countries will start making the arrangement with the club side right now, informing them ahead, so that it doesn't look as they are being taken by surprise. So I think it's a win-win situation for both African players playing their trade in Europe and for the clubs as well.